Hey, what's up, everyone? Ralph here. So, if you're someone that has any intentions of building wealth, then developing good financial habits is going to be key. If you're someone that's living paycheck to paycheck or stressed out about the amount of debt that you have, it's probably because you haven't yet developed the necessary habits to improve your financial situation. That's why in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 financial habits that you need to master in order to take back control of your financial life. So, let's start off with the first financial habit, which is paying yourself first. Now, this is something everyone should be doing, but most probably aren't. Why? Because for a lot of people, it just isn't a priority for them. And I understand why, because obviously we all have bills, right? You want to make sure you keep a roof over your head. You want to make sure to keep clothes on your back, food on the table, right? But if you're someone that's looking to build wealth, then you're gonna have to learn how to develop the habit of paying yourself first, right? Whatever when you receive that paycheck, you want to make sure you take out a percentage and put that off to the side, put that in like a high yield savings account, and build that up so you can use that to do other things in order to build wealth. But for a lot of people, they just don't do that because they obviously focus on paying off things that they need in order to live, like I said, and that's fine. But if you're someone that's going to build wealth, you have to make that a priority. As hard as it is to do, you have to do that. And even for myself, I remember when I had a lot of debt, there was things that I was putting first instead of myself. I was putting things ahead of me, and I was like, all right, I gotta make it intentional, where I gotta say, all right, I'm gonna take a percentage of this amount and then put that up to the side, and then whatever I have left, I'll use to pay my bills, and then I'll figure it out. That'll just force me to be like, all right, I need to come up with more money to make sure I'm covering my bills. And like I said, I'm not saying don't pay your bills. Obviously, you need to pay your bills, but you need to develop that mindset where you're paying yourself first. And usually, like, what the recommended amount is, like, you want to take at least 10% of whatever you make and put that off to the side so you can do with other things. But even if you don't have 10%, start with 5%, start with 2%. Just develop that habit of taking out a percentage and then build yourself up to get to at least 10%. And if need be, get a second job, start a side hustle, start a business, and so you can increase the amount of money you make, and you can take off at least that 10%. So paying yourself first is going to be key. Now, the second financial habit is making sure you pay off your credit card balances every month. Now, for a lot of people, obviously, a lot of people have credit card debt, right? But what's killing a lot of people is that interest that you have to pay on that debt, right? So to avoid that, you want to make sure when you use that credit card that you're paying off that balance off every month, because especially with the way interest rates are right now, man, I think the average interest rate on a credit card is like 20%. That 20%, you could be doing other things like investing or whatever. There's so much you could be doing with that 20%, but so many people are paying that 20% interest on credit cards because they haven't paid off their balance. If you're someone that's ever gonna to build wealth on time, long term, you need to figure out how to make sure that instead of paying interest to the credit card company, you got to figure out a way how you can get a 20% interest to 20% return on your investment. So you got to figure out how to do that, because that's a lot of money that's coming out your pocket that you could be using to do other things. And I know from experience where I was in a financial mess when it came to credit cards, I know exactly how that feels, where you're giving so much of your money to the credit card and you're like, damn, I could be using this money to do other things. But you have to get into the habit of making sure you pay that off every month. And if you don't have the money, then you shouldn't be using that credit card, right? Don't be using credit that you don't have, that you couldn't pay cash for. So if you have, like, I use credit cards obviously because there's a lot of benefits when it comes to points and fly miles, but I have the money in order to make sure I'm paying off that balance every month. And a lot of people, for a lot of people struggling, they're not able to do that. So you want to make sure, if you can, get into the habit of doing that, because that's gonna go a long way to helping you improve your financial situation. Third thing is investing, right? Look, one of the most important things when it comes to building wealth is you got to figure out a way to multiply your money, right? Because relying on your labor to generate money for you is not enough, right? Obviously, you spend a lot, 8 hours a day doing work, and that's the money that you make based on your labor. But you have to figure out a way to then take that money and multiply it, because, like I said, you're one person. You only have so much energy that you can exert over a day. You got to find a way to take that money and multiply that throughout time. Whether, obviously, your 401k is a good start. That's, if you got a retirement account, that's a good way to start. But you got to find other ways to invest that money, whether it's through real estate, whether it's through business, whether it's through stocks, or any income generating asset that's going to multiply your money over time. Because as you get older, you're going to have less energy. You want to make sure that your money is working for you instead of you having to work for your money. So making sure that you can figure out a way to take the money that you have, especially that money that you're paying when you pay yourself yourself first, that 10%, you need to then take that money and figure out a way to multiply that over your lifetime. So that's a very important step when it comes to building wealth long term. Next, we got getting financially educated, right? Now, this is important because obviously a lot of people talk about how, man, I wish in school they taught us this. Man, if they could have just taught us this while we were in school, I could have learned this, how to do taxes, how to invest, or whatever financial, tool that we could have used to help better ourselves as we become adults. But the thing is, even still now, like, people have a lot of time. People have the time and the tools to educate themselves. All they gotta do is read a book, watch a video. All these tools are available for free. Like, you can get this over the internet, or if you want to purchase a book, there are so many ways now to educate yourself. I understand that in school they could have taught this to you and it could have been easier, but even if they didn't, there's still tools available, books for you to read that you can do that now, right? And like I said, all you need is like an hour a day. Purchase a book and then spend like an hour just reading, right? Even if that means like an hour less on the TV or an hour less at a club, bar, whatever it is, any form of entertainment. If you can just spend like an hour a day just using that time to educate yourself, whether it's reading a book, watching a video, or doing whatever, that's gonna go a long way in helping you build financial wealth long term, right? Because there's so much information out there, and if people just understood and just took that information and applied it, they can do so much when it comes to building financial, improving their financial situation. So it's important to make sure you get financially educated and take the time to just educate yourself, whether it's, like I said, reading a book or watching a video like you're doing now. So these are things you should be making a habit of every day. Find time to just read it, just consume some information, and then take that information and apply it. Finally, the fifth financial habit that you need to master is avoiding lifestyle inflation, right? For a lot of people, what happens is, like, once they make more money, what happens as their income increases, so does the expenses. And this is not a good way to build wealth, right? You shouldn't be like, oh, now I'm making more money, I can buy more things. No, you should be keeping that expense level. As you're making more money, now you have more money that you can take to invest into other income generating assets. So you don't want to, you got to avoid that lifestyle inflation, because a lot of people tend to do this. They're like, oh man, I make more money, yet I still have, I'm still broke. I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. Well, for a lot of people, like, because that makes no sense. How are you making more money yet you're still broke, right? What people are doing is, as they make more money, their expenses, they're buying more things and acquiring more debt. And you need to avoid that. As you make more money, keep those expenses as low as possible and take whatever you have, the rest of that, and put that into some investments, right? So that's all I got for you guys today. And let me finish off with this. Like, look, I understand. Like, I've been someone that struggled financially, right? Like I said, I had $30,000 of debt twice in my life. I understand what it is to struggle financially, right? And it wasn't until I educated myself, I read books, I played board games, that it helped. The light bulb went off, and I was like, all right, I need to change the way I manage my money, right? And all it takes is just making it intentional to, like, better yourself, to improve yourself, to gain knowledge, and make it say and telling yourself that I need to learn how to manage my money better. It is possible. I know it probably feels overwhelming, but it is possible, and you can do it. Like, if someone like me that have $30,000 of debt twice in his life, you can do it as well. So you just have to be intentional with it and know that it is possible. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave it down below. Hit the like button and share. If you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe. All right. So you guys take care and have a good one. Later.